This is the Yankees Postcast, your instant game reaction for the New York Yankees. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, it ain't the offense. The Yankees continue to lead the American League in just about every important offensive category. The problem these days is the pitching. Today, no exception. Mets beat the Yanks again, 12-6 the final score. And because of it, the Yanks have now lost 6 straight games. During that 6-game stretch, Yanks ERA is nearly 10. And because of it, the Yanks are now a full 3 games behind the Blue Jays in the American League East. Hello, everybody. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, welcome aboard. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. Glad to have you aboard. Please follow me on X as well, at Jay Berman, Jayberman. Welcome to the Locked On Yankees Postcast, both on the Locked On Yankees YouTube channel and the Locked On Yankees podcast feed. The Postcast gives you a place to chat after every game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Locked On MLB for $20 off your very first purchase. And away we go.
This is what you'll be talking about.
All right, for the last week, we've said many times it's gone from bad to worse for the Yankees. More of the same today as it's gone from bad to worse. Yanks are now 48-41, just 7 games above 500. To give you an idea of how rough this stretch has been, when the Yanks went to Toronto for the first of 4 last week, they were up 3 games in the division. A week later, they're now behind 3 games in the division, chasing 2 teams, not only the Blue Jays, but the Rays as well, who are in front of the Yanks. 12-6 the final score as the Mets rout the Yanks today. It was all about the home run. It's been all about the home run the last 2 games, of course. 7 of them yesterday combined between the 2 teams. 6 more today. That's 13 home runs in a little over 24 hours. Amazing stuff from both the Mets and the Yankees. As for the pitching, Carlos Rodon was there to stop the bleeding. He could not get the job done. 6 earned for Rodon in 5 innings, allowed 2 home runs, 5 hits, 3 walks through 97 pitches, and his ERA sails north of 3. It was at 2.95 to start today. It's now at 3.30. So a rough day for Rodon. More of the same. Efros stunk. Sandridge stunk. Brubaker stunk. They all stunk. And because of it, as we said, the Yankees are mired in a season-long 6-game losing skid. And as we said, the Blue Jays won today. So they're now 3 up on the Yankees in the division. As we said, Rodon takes the loss. He's now 9-6. He's been pretty good, but obviously these blips on the radar are hurting the Yankees. As we said, Rodon, Efros, Sandridge, and Brubaker all gave up multiple earned runs. And again, it is a 12-run, 10-hit day for the Mets. What's interesting about how things went today, every time the Mets put up a run, the Yanks would bounce back in their next half inning with runs. The problem is the Yanks were hitting solo home runs. Mets were hitting grand slams and 2-run shots. Obviously, Pete Alonso going yard twice. Brandon Nimmo had the grand slam early. That was in the very first inning off of Carlos Rodon, and that one certainly stung. As for the Yankee home runs, Jazz at it again, his 15th. Volpe actually hit a home run. We'll have more on him coming up, his 10th. Austin Wells also hit a home run. He's been struggling as well. His home run, his 12th of the season, his first in almost a month, June 10th, all the way back in Kansas City was the last time that Wells hit a home run. Cody Bellinger had 2 more RBIs, as did Jazz Chisolm, Anthony Volpe, Wells, and Rice added RBIs as well. Anthony Volpe, before his home run today, was 18 for his last 100 after the first strikeout. That's 180, folks. I've done the math. It's a pretty simple one. 18 for his last 100. Now, he hits the home run, so we'll give him 19 for 101. But again, point being, he has been an automatic out for a really long stretch here. More of the same pretty much from the rest of the lineup. No Yankee had multiple hits with the exception of DJ LeMahieu, who didn't start today. He came in for Oswald Peraza. LeMahieu had 2 singles after pinch hitting for Peraza, who, by the way, had a single of his own, but he is an automatic out. Austin Wells and Anthony Volpe both hit home runs, as we said, but they've been automatic outs of late. Jason Dominguez, who for some reason was not leading off, despite the fact that he had a career day yesterday, he takes the 0 for 4, struck out twice. Yanks only struck out 7 times, including 4 amongst Dominguez and Volpe, 2 each. So the Yanks cut back on the strikeouts tonight. But again, not nearly enough because the pitching wasn't there. And to be fair, Frankie Montas, the former Yankee, 5 2/3, 4 earned. Now, he did allow a couple of home runs, but both solo shots, and it kept his team in the game. Very much like yesterday's Mets starter, Justin Hagenman, who allowed home runs, but solo shots, keeping his team in the game. Now, the reason we bring up Montas is because, to be fair, I figured they'd get a little bit more out of him or off of him, if you will. Again, 5 2/3, 5 hits, 4 earned, did not walk a batter, allowed 2 home runs, struck out 2. But point being, he's coming off a start where he was roughed up in Pittsburgh, figured there'd be more of the same. And the combination of getting to Montas early and having Carlos Rodon, basically your second best pitcher, start today, it felt like a Yankee win until it didn't. And of course, that's where we are these days. 6 straight losses. As we said, Yanks are down to 7 games above 500 at 48 and 41. Perhaps even more concerning is, yes, they've been good at home, but they've been terrible on the road. Below 500 on the road now, 22 and 24. Aaron Judge took a collar today as well, 0 for 4, did walk once. His season average down to 361. Season on base down to 471. Dominguez and Judge, the only Yankee starters without a hit. As for the Mets, well, they had plenty of multiple hit nights. Starling Marte had 2 hits. Francisco Lindor had 2 hits. Pete Alonso had 2 hits, both home runs. Brandon Nimmo had 2 hits, including a grand slam. So again, the Yankee pitching has just been brutal. As we said, for the Yankees, their ERA during their 6-game skid, practically 10. 10. It was flat 9 after 5. And then the Yankees obviously giving up, let's count them up, 11 more earned runs. So again, the ERA 10 over this 6-game stretch, which has seen the Yankees, as we said, go from 3 up on the Blue Jays to 3 back of the Blue Jays in the division in the snap of a finger. Just like that. Everything has gone wrong for the Yanks. They're now 6 and 16 in their last 22 games. Now, today was the first start for Cody Bellinger at first base this season. Would have thought that we would have gotten him in there a few more times at first base, especially considering the slump that Paul Goldschmidt's in. And let's talk about it right now. Guys like Goldschmidt and LeMahieu and even Trent Grisham, they're going to sit. Not all at the same time, but if Dominguez has to play, someone's going to have to sit. If LeMahieu's going to continue to be an offer, he's going to have to sit. Same for Paul Goldschmidt. It was so good the first 2 months of the season. He's been just that bad since. So again, there's going to be a lot of rotating, a lot of moving pieces. One of those pieces that should not be moving in and out of the lineup, of course, is Jason Dominguez, despite the 0 for 4 today, especially against righties. I was surprised, especially after yesterday's performance, that he did not lead off. Obviously, they wanted to get Trent Grisham in that leadoff spot. Grisham now hitting 247. By contrast, Dominguez 20 points higher at 267. All right, Unfortunately, we've got a bad news update on Clark Schmidt. We'll do that next. And the Yankees signed another infielder to their minor league roster for the second day in a row. We'll explain all that coming up next. All right, we've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Well, live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. Worried about what happens if plans change? Well, the Game Time guarantee has your back with cancellation protection and more. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. All right, we are back. And of course, this one has been difficult over the last week. We'll try again today. Here we go.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Again, splitting hairs here. We'll give it to Cody Bellinger. More big picture. Bellinger did have a hit and 2 RBIs today, had 9 hits against the Mets through the first 5 games and 11 RBIs. Of course, had the grand slam in that opening series. But again, 9 hits and 11 RBIs against the Mets this season in just 5 games. And we still have another game to play. So Cody Bellinger gets the game ball today. Of course, yet again, it comes in a loss. No Yankee, with the exception of the pinch hitter, DJ LeMahieu, had 2 hits. He actually came in for Oswald Peraza, who continues to struggle. Excellent glove, no bat. He's now hitting 159 on the season. Clark Schmidt, he's going to undergo Tommy John surgery. The inevitable has happened. Unfortunately for the Yankees, they take another hit in the starting rotation. Rodon and Fried, seems like that's all that's left. So now Clark Schmidt is gone. Interestingly enough, the Yankees also signed Jeimer Candelario to a minor league deal. He was recently cut by the Reds, has a huge deal in tow. Obviously, the Yanks won't have to pay that. He will report to the Rail Riders. Again, Jeimer Candelario has signed with the Yanks. Clark Schmidt now out for the year. As for the probables, thank the good Lord, we've got Max Fried tomorrow, who will try and silence the bats. If there was ever a game to pick the Yankees to win, tomorrow's it. Here's why. As we said, Max Fried will start for the Bombers. Don't know who's going to start for the Mets. In fact, it's all likelihood a bullpen game, and their bullpen hasn't been great. So we expect more homers. As we said, between the two squads in a little over 24 hours, 13 home runs, 7 yesterday, 4 by the Yanks, 3 by the Mets, and 6 more today. Again, the Yankees did hit 3 home runs today, but they were all solo shots. So the Mets holding down the Yanks bats, specifically keeping men off base. All right, what the Yankees could not do was hold down the bats of Alonso and Nimmo. The two Mets combined for 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. When 2 players combine to hit 3 home runs and 9 RBIs, odds are you're losing that game. That's exactly what the deal was. All right, Yanks are 48 and 41. As we said, now in 3rd place in the division, they trail the 1st place Blue Jays by 3 full games. Remember, going into Toronto last week, the Yanks were up 3. They're now down 3. Like that. 1 week is all it took. So again, we'll try to get back on that horse tomorrow. As we said, Max Fried and most likely a bullpen game for the Mets. All right, thanks for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long, get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also want to mention our partners in crime at Locked On Yankees, Stacey Goudsoulias and Brian McCann. Follow, subscribe, and enjoy. All right, taking a look at a few of these Yankee comments. Here we go. Wink to Man 07 wants to know if the Yankees losing goes on any longer, do we see Boone being fired? Probably not. And the Yankees aren't going to lose every single game. But it's a good question. And I don't think today was the deciding factor in letting Aaron Boone go. But at some point, the buck has to stop. And Brian Cashman's not going to fire himself. And the Steinbrenners are not going to sell the team. So the next in line who could possibly take the brunt of it would be Aaron Boone. Again, Boone has been a super successful Yankee manager to date, including the defending American League champs. He'll manage the American League in the All-Star game in a week and a half. The question is, will he still be the Yankee manager? Yes, he'll, of course, be the Yankee manager. But again, the losing needs to stop at some point. All right, as we said, 12-6, the final score. Yanks have now lost 6 in a row. And their ERA during that 6-game stretch, nearly 10. 10 double figures. Just miserable stuff from the Yanks. By the way, Mets are now 52-38, right there with the Phillies for the top spot in the National League East. All right, that's a wrap. As we said, 12-6, the final score. Tomorrow's game, final game of the series, we'll start at 1:40 Eastern, then 3 with Seattle, 3 with the Cubbies, on to the All-Star break in Atlanta. Can't get here soon enough. Let's lick these wounds. We'll go at them again tomorrow. Again, 12-6 the final. Yanks are losers of 6 consecutive games. We'll try again tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone.